Welcome to a new update. This update is regarding Bitcoin. Bitcoin is currently consolidating at 28.5. We have been making an update on Tuesday. Now we're doing a new one which is solely focused on TA. And as you can see, we're doing it in the office today. On Saturday we're going to do an update regarding the altcoins, which I've also been giving on Twitter with a long tweet yesterday. So make sure to follow me on Twitter as well, where I'm sharing my thoughts on the altcoins, which at this point is not the most positive, as Bitcoin is carrying on. However, some altcoins are doing really well. Solana, Chainlink, Injective, those start to fire up too. So we are on the edge of the start of the bull cycle. Although the most people that are into the crypto markets and also on social media are retail investors, and retail investors are mostly into altcoins, and those altcoins are currently not showing off at all because Bitcoin needs to carry the market first, and Bitcoin needs a few levels to break through in order to continue to have the momentum. In that regard, we're going to look at those levels in the update. But before we continue, this video is sponsored by Bybit, which is my go-to exchange where I trade my altcoins, where I trade Bitcoin, where I just have my day trades going on a daily basis, which is giving you the opportunity to win an iPhone 15 Pro or an iPad, which you might be able to win if you sign up through my link beneath, which is also the exchange where you can trade futures in the Netherlands. Now, when we look at something else that is special, as you can see on the screen, we're going to launch a new project really soon. It is a consultancy, which is called MN Trading Consultancy. It is several packages and programs which you can follow. You can get an hourly fee with me, or an hourly package with me where I just answer your questions, or I review your portfolio, or anything else, as we are also going to do corporate, and we're going to do asset management for you. So you can give us your money and we hold it for you, or we trade it for you, or you have it in self-custody and we are just an advisor. If you would like to be into one of those programs, we're going to launch soon, and there are limited spots available because I just don't have all the time of the world, and my team doesn't either. But if you want to get yourself into a spot or are interested into one of our programs, make sure to send us an email at consultancy@mntrading.com, or sign up or send an email through the website page that you can see here, which you can do by filling in the form or getting in touch with us. Now, when we're looking at the market, it is currently consolidating, which I've been mentioning before. It is currently consolidating and it's in a bullish perspective. And yes, we have been into choppy waters since the end of August, in which we had a low here at 25k, and that actual low was at the 200 EMA on the weekly time frame. Since then, we have been chopping around quite substantially, taking out the lows, getting all the way there. Massive wick, which was due to the fact that fake news on the ETF approval came out at this point. Now we're consolidating, which is a proper perspective, which it is going to look at most likely continuation. But which levels are we looking at in terms of strength and in terms of where we can actually see more money coming into the markets? In order to do that, we have to zoom out a little bit, and we have to zoom out to see where the markets are standing, which at this point we are looking at the halving to come in at the beginning of April, which is really soon from now. We have to be looking at a case where we have been testing these levels here for support, which is the area around 25k. We are technically still uptrending, which means that we are making a higher low, and once we are making a higher low, you're looking for a higher high. So we are in this range. We are in this range for approximately 9 months already, and we are looking for a potential breakout to take place. What are the crucial levels in order to do that? Well, if you look in the entire market, there are two levels that I would like to identify as crucial. The first one is this one that we had and that we used as a narrative during the previous bull and bear market. So in 2021, we bounced at the 30k level and we held onto it in June as well, and then we lost it in May of 2022, which is a remarkable resistance. You can compare the level towards the Bitcoin 6k resistance, which we had in the previous bear market. In that case, we've had one test, we've had 2 and 3 tests, and now we are facing most likely the next test of this area, which if you look at Bitcoin at this point, it needs to break through this level at 28.8k. Once it does, it is going to crack all the way towards 32k, and then we are on the edge of having a big breakout to the upside, because we're going to have an ETF being applied to Bitcoin. We're going to have, which is relatively sure, we're going to have a case of the Bitcoin halving, which is usually a bullish trigger. Because if you look at the previous markets, and I've been tweeting that yesterday too, if you look at the market cycle, then there is a case of 2019, which of course we had a big runner. We had a big runner until June of 2019. We had a big correction, which was until October and actually December and January. And then we started the pre-halving run, which went from 6.8k to 10.5. And normally we would have been seeing a continuation towards anywhere around 13k, or at least taking out this high to 14 to 15k. But unfortunately, COVID-19 took place, so we reversed, but we can see the impact afterwards, which was a bullish trigger for the markets, which means that this uptrend started to take place already months prior of the halving, 7 months prior of the halving. So the chances of Bitcoin being bottomed out is significant, especially if you look at the case of 2015, 2016, which, as you can look at the price action here, we have been going into a sideways staggering period of 9 months before we had the peak pre-halving run, which went from $400 to 800. I'm not saying we go from 30k to 60k. This seems unnatural to expect, but what do we see here? We are cracking against the crucial resistance, which we have been bouncing into the previous bear market. We lost it, flipped the resistance, kept on pushing, and then we broke the resistance and had a very significant breakout pre-halving. As right now we are currently consolidating towards the actual resistance, you can also see that it has been happening in 2015, 2016. And additionally, we didn't make any new lows. The only case that we have been seeing new lows was in the 2019-2020 case because of an outlier, which was COVID-19. So the chances of Bitcoin going to have new lows are very slim. In the current price structure, I think the odds of breaking through 28.8k to 28.6k in the next 1 to 2 weeks are quite substantial. And once we break through it, I think we're gonna rally all the way towards 32k, maybe have a correction to 29k at some point, and then we start to have the pre-halving run, most likely starting in December, which might push us towards 45 to 48k. So to me, the crucial levels are 30k, 32k and 28.8, and I'm going to look at the lower time frames here, which can show me why these levels are super important. You can see that we had this push upwards where we rejected 28.6, and we can see that we found ourselves into a bottoming procedure in July at 28.7. It got a test here, it's dropped back down, rejected at 28.1, fell all the way towards 26.5 again with bearish rejections, and then we started to reverse the trend as we have been sweeping back up. I think from my perspective, you can definitely deny the case of having this wick here. I think you should be looking at a case of price action without the wick, and if we look at that, we can actually argue that we are into a very bullish construction here, which might be getting some lower tests, but it is pushing towards the crucial resistance. And the more often the resistance gets tested, the more likely it will be that you're going to break through it. In which, if we hold above 28.1, it is fine. And then we're going to test 28.7 again, most likely having a very swift breakout towards 30.2k, which is above this wick. All the liquidity has been taken, so probably we will have a swift move to the upside. If we lose the support here, I think the altcoins like Ether, like Chainlink are going to provide a small bounce. And if you're looking at a correction to actually get yourself interested into positions, I think 27.7 and 27.3 are the areas where you need to get into your position. Now, as long as we hold 28.1, we get a breaker above here, the flip is a trigger for me towards 30.2, and then we continue the chop. Altcoins are going to suffer during that period, selectively. So Ether is going to suffer. Bitcoin is going to bounce back up once we drop towards 27.3 and 27.7. But at this point, we are in a nature where you want to buy the dip on the markets. On Saturday, I'll be providing you with a longer update on the altcoins. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Ciao.